other individual because they weren't being held in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. There was comments to the questions that I had sent to the commission or to the mayor to ask of the commission or the allegiance that one of them was provide copies of all agreements that were signed by the operating management company and the hospital commission. It said that the response was 4 of the current hospital commission members have copies of the lease with Allegiance, but none of these copies are complete, nor do they have the signatures of the mayor at that time or parties to the lease. That's a little bit questionable in my mind. Explain why those stated at the last council meeting the commission meets on the third Monday of every month at 6 at various locations, why that information is not published, and that's one of the things Mr. Mitchell alluded to in his email resignation, that seemed to be selective contact within the commission. And I'll just read that their actions not consistent with open meetings, and when they take it to excluding other hospital commission members, it's setting a tone that's unacceptable. I concur with that because I have yet to see a posted agenda for any of the hospital commission meetings. And I still have a problem, particularly if the hospital commission has a bank account that's close to $1 million, why the city, can't get back in the hospital business to help with our budget to the point that basically all we're doing is hiring a contracting firm to be the hospital administrator to pay the money for a good hospital administrator that we might even be able to make more money. And it's my desire, I make a motion that within the next 72 hours that the mayor appoint a committee headed by the finance director and 2 members of council to oversee the operation of the hospital commission in receiving copies of all expenditures and lease agreements and anything that has to do with the commission operating the hospital.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, these questions don't seem to pertain to me. I think I'll go ahead and leave.
Any further from Mr. Mary? If not, he's gone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other discussion on the motion and the second? Mr. Pownall, do you have your hand up?
The reason I'm making that motion is because there are so many things that seem so convoluted. Matter of fact, early on in conversations with Mr. Mitchell, who was an experienced hospital administrator, he basically said, don't raise the issue of the way the hospital is being operated because the commission's making $200,000 a year off of the hospice care license. As Mr. Murray just stated, the commission is making $243,000 between the home health and the lease of the hospital. I think there needs to be some accountability, particularly since the commission had no authority to write a lease with a profit organization or organizations, and I still believe that there's involvement from the original contractor that was contracted with.
Mr. DeVito, you want to chime in on this that you're on?
Until I see it in black and white with signatures on it, that's speculation on my part. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. There's still a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Would you repeat the motion again?
Motion is to form a committee with the finance director and 2 other individuals to monitor the hospital's expenditures. Is that the way you wrote it?
Within the next 72 hours?
Within the next 72 hours.
Council members.
I didn't hear finance, I heard 2 council members.
And the
2 council members,
director.
Okay. That is the motion.
And what documents to review again?
Mr. Pownall?
All expenditures.
All expenditures.
This is to monitor.
The commission's expenditures?
Well, you want me to change it to approve all expenditures other than health care, supplies, and salary? I'll be more than glad to.
Let me back up just.
So you want us to run the commission? So that's my understanding. Yes, sir.
We're talking about the hospital commission.
Apparently.
Who is running the hospital?
Yeah,
Via.
that's a private business that we have no. So the motion is any expenditures that pass through the hospital commission. Correct.
Mr. Reed, you have
I'm not
information
sure.
on this?
In my mind, and maybe the council understands exactly what the motion is, but in my mind, it sounds like you're trying to supplant the hospital commission, and if you're doing that, I think you lack the authority to do that. If you're wanting to monitor it for some reason or investigate something, you may have that authority. But if you're trying to make them subject to your approval or this committee's approval, you better have some backup that I've not seen offered to this council yet of where you get that authority from.
Mr. Barry?
It seems like, from what I'm understanding, that we have several questions about the hospital commission and what they can do and what they can't do. I'm not sure I'm real comfortable with setting up a committee monitoring this. I'm not sure that's a solution. I'm not sure what that is going to accomplish. If we're trying to, go back to some of these questions that Mr. Pownall questioned to begin with, I think those are still some legitimate questions that need to come before this body. And probably one of them is whether or not that lease is a valid lease. And I don't know I don't know if our city attorney can come up with that
He would be the man.
question or not, or answer. And at that point, then I think maybe we have some other options we need to look into.
Okay. Mr. DeVito?
Well, I won't discount Mr. Pownall's motion. I think maybe it might be better visited after the next meeting when we hear from Mr. Wendell and other members of the commission. I'd be more than happy to address it at that point. I'm just thinking we're maybe just getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. They're due to meet at our next meeting where we can ask any of the questions that we would like. I'd hate to go through this motion and set up this and encumber the finance director and find out after we meet with them at our next meeting that this may not be necessary.
Okay. There's still a motion. Mr. Pownall?
We were assured at the last meeting, which is not the last meeting, the meeting before last, when I requested that this issue be moved to this meeting, that at that point the Allegiance representatives were going to be here for the 9th of April meeting. Mr. Murray contradicted that is his belief that they were never notified and that their cost to come from Little Rock is $3,000. And I'll tell you, if that's the case, none of us have any business going to Little Rock for municipal league conferences, because I sure don't get anything close to that for going down there. The thing that concerns me that started the whole issue is, number one, we have an illegal contract based on state code, admitted by the commission that the last mayor and council approved that situation, which the only thing I have to go by is what the commissioners put in writing to that question. I'm just concerned that if they're carrying a bank account of $1 million, that there needs to be some oversight, and to say that this table doesn't have the authority to question anything that commission is doing is no different than questioning any other commission in this city that this table approves, I'm about that close to making a recommendation that that commission be abolished by ordinance. So, you know, I think it's imperative that we take a look at the financial transactions that are occurring, monies being paid to and received from Allegiance and or other agencies that have been contracted in the past, to find out exactly what is going on at the hospital. I am not looking to, as was stated on a local blog some time ago by Mr. Mitchell before he was even on the commission, trying to shut down the Eureka Springs Hospital. I'm trying to resolve the responsibility that this table has for actions that require or go along with financial fiscal responsibility. And I see that's one that's just kind of been shoved under the table and been let operate to their own devices.
Mr. DeVito.
The comment about $3,000 was made in relationship to the Allegiance's attorney. And I don't find it outside normal practices for a high-paid attorney to travel to Eureka Springs and spend the hours. I mean, he's paid to travel, he's paid to travel home, he's paid for the time here, probably overnight too. So, you know, any questions we might have for the attorney, I suggest, as we mentioned earlier in this process, is that we put those in writing for the attorney. The CEO has volunteered to meet with us at no cost to them. We've also got Mr. Wendell that's going to come speak with us too. You know, I don't see any need to have the attorney come up here and encumber them with those costs. Those questions we have can be put in writing, and we can receive answers in writing. So we're going to have the CEO and Mr. Wendell come speak with us. So I find that to be sufficient to address any questions we might have at this time. If we do have any others for the attorney, they can be put in writing.
Ms. Bell.
I find it quite distressing that in this issue, as in so many others, that the tactics are to delay, to refuse to supply us with information that we need to make informed decisions. This is becoming the pattern, and I find that very distressing. It's impossible to try to oversee the business of a city when information is being withheld serially, when delay tactics are used over and over and over. We've been talking about this for months, and we still don't have the answers we've been looking for. I'm in favor of moving forward with Mr. Pownall's motion because I'm tired of the delays. I'm tired of being put off. I'm tired of being brushed off. I'm tired of what's been going on. I'm ready to move forward, and I will vote for Mr. Pownall's motion.
Call
the question.
Let me address Mr. Weaver here before we do anything.
Second.
Do you want
Second.
to...
Point of order.
I'm addressing Mr.
Point of
Weaver.
order. He called
Our
the
counsel.
question. Point of order. He called the question.
Ma'am. I'll question Mr. Weaver. Do you want to look at the
Point of
contract?
order.
I don't know that I can give you an answer to the contract in any time real soon. The lawyer that represents the hospital commission, I think, has made their opinion.
Okay.
And they have their own private counsel. If you direct me to look at it, I will look at it and I will give you my best judgment. But I would suspect that will take at least until next meeting or longer.
Okay. We'll address the issue on the table. Mr. Pownall wants to form a committee with the finance director and two council persons to...
Mayor and two council people.
Mayor and two council people. Through the finance director. All right, restate it,
I
sir.
thought it was finance director.
Motion was the
'cause
finance,
it's
headed by
apparently
the
signed.
finance director and two members of council.
Yes.
I would suggest that when you get to it that you,
Roll call.
well, roll call, but also be very specific to what the motion is. so that it is clear on the record what the motion actually entails.
Okay, for the record, yes, I would like to. Okay. Mr. Pownall, for one last, for the record, sir. One last time, so Madam Clerk can get it down verbatim.
I've slept since then. Motion is for the mayor to appoint within the next 72 hours the finance director and 2 members of council to review all hospital commission transactions as it applies to the Eureka Springs Hospital.
Is everybody clear on the? Yes, sir.
Future transactions, past transactions. If we're talking about all transactions, we're talking about a lot of stuff.
Okay, Mr. Pownall's the one making the motion. I'll let him simplify it or modify it.
Understanding the operation of the commission and the allegiance, it would be transactions made between the hospital commission and the managing company or companies within the last year and during the term of the committee.
You good on that? Okay. This is made in a second. Ms. Ballance?
I have a concern that if the mayor appoints the committee and it's the mayor and 2 council members, it's the mayor, it's the finance director and 2 council members. I have a concern that if it might be a certain 2 council members, we might get certain answers. If it's a certain other 2 council members, we might get certain other council members. So perhaps 3 council members might be better, so it could be balanced.
That'll be addressed to Mr. Pownall.
Amend it to 3.
Second.
Actually, you have to call the question right now on the table.
Well, that was ignored years ago.
Actually, the pending motion or the pending action.
Would you like? I will withdraw my second.
Okay. Mr. Pownall, she has withdrawn her second. That means you go back.
Second for the calling the question.
Okay, second for calling the question. Okay.
Actually, you called the question.
I did not.
He called the question.
Okay.
Doc did.
Doc called the question.
Okay, from
Right?
for Mr. Pownall to amend his motion, you have to withdraw your call for the question so we can amend it to 3.
Well, if he doesn't have a second,
We don't know yet. He hasn't amended the motion.
no. I mean, for calling the question.
Okay, if there's not a second, then it goes back to the original motion. You may amend it.
To 3.
All right. Now, the motion is 3 council members.
I'll second that.
Made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay, now go back to the original.
Okay, we'll go back to roll call. We'll just do a roll call vote right now. Okay, this was on the last issue. Going back to Mr. Pownall's amendment and second to his motion to amend it to 3 from the 2.
Mr. Pownall?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
No.
Ms. Ballance?
Yes.
Dr. Kirkpatrick?
No.
Mr. Raphael?
No.
Mr. DeVito?
No.
4 noes.
2 yeas, 4 noes.
Okay, so it stays at 2. Is that your understanding, Mr. Weaver? Since his
Back to his original motion.
All right. Okay, we're back to the original motion with 2, the finance director and 2 council members. And we had a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
Okay.
You want to do
Okay.
it this way?
All right, go back to the roll call then.
Mr. DeVito?
No.
Ms. Ballance?
Yes.
Ms. Mr. Raphael?
No.
Mr. Berry?
No.
Mr. Pownall?
Yes.
Dr. Kirkpatrick?
No.
The same, 2 and 4.
Okay. No committee then. Okay.
I move to take a 7-minute recess.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
The ayes have it. We're back in session. We are now working on number 3 on unfinished business. Auditorium Commission Ordinance Review. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Floor is open.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Berry.
we met yesterday, an informal group, kind of reviewing what the Auditorium Committee had came up with. There was only a couple of people from the original Auditorium Committee that was there, and a couple of council members, and along with Mike Maloney, Ray Delfield, and Ron Summers, myself. We kind of went through a little bit of the history of the auditorium operations and how and different options that the committee reviewed to see how the auditorium should function in the various methods of funding and operating the auditorium. We had several different ideas that came up, everything from which the committee, the original committee, also looked at these same things about leasing it out to another organization, setting up or reenacting, I should say, the existing 501c3 commission. But the final consensus was to go back to the, if I'm not mistaken, the original recommendation from the Auditorium Committee, and that would be to establish an Auditorium Commission if, on the basis of getting a 1/4% sales tax approved by the general public, bringing that up to an election on the general election in November before the people to vote for a 1/4% sales tax that would be dedicated strictly to the maintenance and operation of the auditorium. And we didn't discuss it yesterday, but the original committee was to had a basis of putting that on a sunset clause, a 5-year sunset clause. So if the auditorium was successful or more than successful at the end of the 5 years, that tax would be eliminated, and or could be, if it would seem to be operating and everything looked good, then that tax could also be brought back up to another vote before the public. So, but this tax would only be used for the utilities, maintenance, operations, and any excess tax revenue would go into a fund that would be for like future capital improvements. Now, again, I'm paraphrasing what the committee did, and it wasn't brought up before the council necessarily, or the group yesterday. But the capital improvements would also go in and include things like elevators, fire alarm systems, curtains, stuff that capital improvements that would be needed over a 5-year period, windows, things. So that was kind of the basis of it. I'm not sure what if this council agrees with that concept, what the next step would be. I guess my understanding would be just basically get an ordinance established, ready for approval for establishment of an election to be held in November. That's kind of a question, I guess, on that part.
To Mr. Weaver.
to Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
Yes, we need to tie an ordinance to the authority based on state law to collect a tax and then to refer that to the citizens.
Any further? Anybody else? All right.
Was that,
Yeah.
okay.
Do we need to make a motion to have that happen?
You wanna
Unless
make-
there's some other questions. I mean, you know,
Was there any discussion of why CAPC hasn't even paid the 2011 money to the city?
no.
The $1,000?
Ms.
I'm not
Ballance.
sure they
Oh,
was
sorry.
aware, I was aware that they were owing any money.
Ms. Ballance.
I was led to believe from our workshop that the CAPC was indeed up to date on their payments to the city, but perhaps I was misled.
We've not been notified that they're in arrears. Where did you get the information, sir?
For some reason, I was led to believe, and I would defer that to the finance director to find out if we received a payment from CAPC.
Give him just a second, he'll look. Can you check on that?
Yes, I think that they probably have.
Okay, we can check on that. Got to look through a long list of stuff over here. Is there a motion for,
So I guess I'd make a motion that the city council have the city attorney draft up an ordinance for a referendum, 25% sales tax for the use of the auditorium that with a sunset clause of 5 years. That would be strictly for utilities, maintenance, operation bills, infrastructure.
and the balance going to a fund, as you said? I think you said what it
Yes.
was.
Second.
Made and seconded. Discussion still. Go ahead, Don.
I thought the CAPC originally was created to help support the auditorium.
Mr. DeVito.
That's not correct.
Not correct?
No, sir.
It was created to reap all the benefits from the auditorium at taxpayers' expense. Is that it?
No, sir.
Sounds to me like that's what they're doing.
I would respectfully suggest you read the enabling statute, because that's not what I understand. I understand that the CAPC was enabled, was organized to be in charge of a convention center, which at the time the auditorium was considered. So ipso facto, there already is a commission in place to oversee the auditorium, and that would be the CAPC. So I would suggest respectfully that you might want to read the enabling statute to see what it really says.
Okay.
Mr. DeVito.
It's just an urban myth that has no basis in reality, and regardless of whether there was a shred of truth behind it, we no longer function under that legislation. We function under the legislation which the rest of the state does, that in no way ties the ability to collect the tax to any convention center / auditorium or anything of that nature.
Okay.
Mr. Berry made the motion. Was everybody clear on the motion? Was there a second? Okay, James seconded it. Any further? Okay, we need a roll call on this since you're going to do ordinance on it? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Hang on.
Ms. Ballance?
No.
Mr. Pownall?
Yes.
Mr. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Raphael,
Yes.
Dr. Kirkpatrick,
No.
Mr. DeVito.
Yes.
4 yeses, 2 nos.
Motion passed. Any further discussion on this? Not, we'll move to number 4, proposed animal drawn vehicle requirements. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Floor is open. Anybody want to jump in? Chance to look at it. Any questions? Mr. DeVito.
A question to the city attorney. Has he reviewed proposed changes to the ordinance?
I have.
You find them within reason?
If I were the one setting in the position of the alderman, I would have problems with it. From a legal aspect, though, most of what is there could be imposed. Although I think there's problems in defining the use of the state highway in the way it's done.
That would be page 3, section T. Is that
I
correct?
think it's S and T, maybe.
Yes.
Not T yet.
Any questions on Mr. Weaver's comments? Mr. Berry?
Well, I guess it goes back to Mr. Weaver's comment. I kind of tend to agree. Is it my understanding that do you think this is not in, I mean, it seems like it might be a little bit in conflict with state law.
That would be my interpretation of that particular part, that it could be very well held by a court to be in conflict.
It'd have to be challenged first, wouldn't it? In the court.
It would have to be challenged in order for a court to make that determination. Cause
Usually it's too late by then. Mr. DeVito?
Well, as to item T, I mean, we regulate that as we approve the routes for the franchisees. So, I mean, we can preclude any access to Highway 62 by the approval of the routes.
it would apply both to 62 and any other, if adopted, it also apply to 23. Now, T, I think, is just 62. But regulating state highways, either one would apply to either one. And either route.
Mr. Berry?
And I guess it's the same thing. I mean, if you're regulating 62, shouldn't you regulate 23? I mean,
Yes.
it's one
You
or the
have to,
other,
yeah.
isn't it? Beg your
Pretty
pardon?
much have to, yeah.
Why?
They're both Arkansas highways.
So-
Why exclude one and incorporate the other?
Well, I don't see why we couldn't. There's nothing to say we can't.
There may
Mr.
very
Weaver
well
seems
be
to have a
state
problem
law.
with it.
Well, that would be interesting to know so we could have the facts before we moved forward.
I believe that's when Mr. Weaver brought it up.
I would like to see that in writing.
Any other issues?
The only other thing is I would like to ask or make sure the council's aware that, and I think they are, but that if you do adopt any or all or a portion thereof of these changes, it's not going to affect the current issued franchises. It will take place when they are reissued at the end of their terms.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with item T.
Item T.
Yeah, section T.
Well, I'll throw it out there and make a motion to approve the changes to the animal drawn vehicles franchise, deleting item S and item T.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on it? Let's do this with a roll call, since it has to do with the ordinance. No.
They will have to actually create an ordinance to do this.
Okay. So,
This would be directing to draft an ordinance, basically.
okay. So the motion is to delete S and T, not to make an ordinance.
On attorney's suggestion, I'll add that to the motion.
Right.
That we draft an ordinance.
The motion is to strike letter S and letter T from the animal drawn vehicle draft as presented to the council. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Apparently that's 6. Okay. Such as it is. All right. Moving on to number 5, emissions reduction plan workshop date.
Move to discuss.
Second.
Made and seconded. Floor is open. What is convenient for y'all for a date on a workshop?
May 22nd.
May 22nd's been mentioned. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
May 22nd. Any further recommendations? We'll see who can fit what into where.
May 22nd,
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Not a council day.
After our council meeting.
After a council meeting?
Well, no, it's the next day after
okay.
our
I see.
council meeting. I'm sorry.
Mr. Pownall, you had your hand up, sir?
I was just questioning if it would be appropriate, I guess, to suspend the rules and request that after that meeting we have the workshop for the goals. Last final go around. We're going to meet.
Planning meets the day after council.
Then I will withdraw that motion and change it to May 2nd. I would move to have
Be a
our
Wednesday night?
workshop on May 2nd. That would be a Wednesday night, yes, sir. At 6:30 p.m.
Okay, let's see about HDC.
HDC's on that.
Hang on.
She's got her
HDC's that.
dig for her list here.
Planning is not going to be on May 22nd. They're going to be the following week.
Okay, we're looking at May 2nd now.
May 2nd, so
Yeah,
Wednesday's
switch back to
HDC.
Wednesday. Okay.
I didn't.
We could meet at an alternative location.
Nikki's correct. Planning would not. Why is that? Oh, they changed because of the voting.
Yes.
So the 22nd of May is open. My apology.
You want to go back to May 22nd?
Planning meeting first and third. Second and fourth, except they're going to be
Right, they moved that one.
Okay, we're back to the original May 22nd. 6 o'clock? 6:30? 6:30? Any other suggestions?
I would amend that motion to add a goals workshop immediately following.
It'd be council goals?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the recommendation is May 22nd, 6:30, Wednesday night? Tuesday night.
Tuesday.
Sorry, Tuesday night.
May 22nd.
With the goals, council goals workshop after the fact. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
The amended did not get a second.
Okay, need a second on the amendment for the
Second.
goals. All right, made and seconded. Now all in favor of May the 22nd, 6:30, Tuesday night, and the goals workshop afterwards.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, good deal. Okay, number 6 on... I'm sorry? It's about a workshop. I don't think it's really... Okay. Number 6 is the limo ordinance issue.
Move to discuss.
Second.
Okay. Floor is open. Mr. Raphael,
I
sir.
would make a motion to adopt the Hot Springs limousine definition and part of their transportation code as our definition of limousine service.
Please repeat.
I would move to have the limousine section of the Hot Springs transportation code adopted as part of our code.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? No further discussion. We'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right. Yes, sir.
Do we have to have this drawn up as an ordinance?
Yes,
Yeah.
I was going to move that actually. I move to have this eurekanized.
Thank you.
Good term. Good term.
Second.
All in favor of you recognizing it, as Mr. Raphael, Mr. Parker put it? Raphael? Is that a 6-0?
There wasn't a vote on the second part, on
Okay.
the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried also. Okay, done with that issue. Next on the agenda is number 7, be the second read of Ordinance 2151, clarifying the contact initiated by various personnel with the city attorney.
Move to discuss.
Second?
Second.
Yes, sir.
Move that we suspend the rules and place ordinance 2151 on the second reading by title only.
Second.
Made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance 2151, an ordinance amending Title VI to clarify contact initiated by various city personnel with the city attorney.
Okay. Mr. Pownall.
Move we approve ordinance 2151 on the second reading.
Second. Wait, we needed a roll call.
Okay, you
vote on
good?
that
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, we've got to do a roll call on this.
Mr. Raphael,
Yes.
Mr. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Pownall,
Yes.
Ms. Ballance,
Yes.
Dr. Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
Mr. DeVito,
Yes.
6-0.
Okay. Any further on this issue? If not, we'll move on. All right. Number 8 and number 9 have been postponed until our Windrock people get back with us.
When is that going to be?
That's up to them. We try to stay in contact with as much as we can, but she's all over the United States. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to ask at least a question. So would it be possible for us to take up number 8 for a moment?
Yes, ma'am. We'll have to.
I move to discuss, please.
Okay.
Second.
Made and seconded and move to discuss number 8. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I was wondering about this discussion of the water rate increase, and as I've been thinking about different options and different ways to approach the whole matter, I thought perhaps we might ask Mr. Clark if he would crunch the numbers and see what kind of a difference it would make if we went to a flat rate across the board for all gallons of water usage.
Can you address that now? You need time to check it. Okay.
Oh, certainly. I didn't expect it to happen right now. But if you could give us some, if you could crunch the numbers and give us some kind of an idea what difference it would make if we went to a flat rate across the board for everyone instead of raising the rates, it would just be interesting to have that information for comparison's sake.
I can tell you right off that you'll put almost all the hotels and all the restaurants in town out of business. Restaurants have already shown a 25% increase in food costs in the last 2 years.
As well as household.
Excuse me, I have the floor.
Sir, excuse me.
Okay, go ahead.
The last time we went round about with this rate increase, it disproportionately was put onto businesses. There was a substantial rate increase in restaurants and motels across the board.